Hey, what's going on, family? It's me, Baby Girl Slaughter. I'm at lunch. Thought I'd read. So let's just dive into it. I got a few minutes left on my lunch break, and I want to get into chapter 13, The Path of Silence. Now, I'm going to be getting into Can We Escape the Simulation? One of the latest books from Claudio Micheli, aka No Scaphandrum. And he was having a conversation with Helen, which is one of the ancestral humans that was born from beyond the lands, from the ice walls, that comes in and out of this reality, I guess, simulation or portal through various means, right? And so she was having a conversation with Claudio. All right. So let's get into chapter 13, The Path of Silence. After learning that there were beings who had preserved their pineal gland intact, it gave me a sense of hope. Even though Helen's words often carried the raw tone of a melancholic past, I could sense that between the lines, there was also a message of resistance and a quiet hope for imagining a different future. But I also felt a stab of frustration in my heart. I wanted to know how to achieve it. I needed to know if there was a path for those of us born after the reset to break free from the system and the imposed reality of the projector dome and the mental noise it generates. Though I had many questions I would ask later, at the moment I was fascinated by the idea of giants living both beneath the surface and beyond the ice walls. The conversation continued like this. Helen, up to now, you've told me about how they intervene in us and about the simulation that surrounds us. I want to know what these giants are like. Are they the only ones that exist? Do they live beyond the ice walls in nearby continents? There are several races of giants, including those I told you about during the era of Great Tartary or Tartaria. The civilization rose up during the previous cycle, led by the ancestrals, the Anakin, and the human giants. Many live beyond the ice walls, but large groups still dwell today in the inner earth. In what specific places can those underground cities be found in these continents? Can I know? They're in various places. The giants move from one region to another because the custodians are always trying to detect any anomaly. If they detect activity, they immediately attempt to destroy it, like what happened in Tunguska and in several other places. There was a large region exactly where you know as the Ural Mountains. Today, they are present in several locations at once, but for safety reasons, it's not a good idea to reveal those sites. And do those groups stay in contact with the giants beyond the walls? Yes, they do, frequently. There was a time when they crossed realities regularly together with the ancients, but starting from what you know as the 1940s and 50s. Surveillance intensified and permanent military bases were established. Since then, such crossings become less frequent, especially after the discovery of the open passages called the Hunrik, with the help from the Cassiopean beings. Those core underground regions are highly advanced. I myself have the privilege of visiting them. They also are very silent. How does one access them? Are there gates that connect to the inner lands? Yes. Generally, they're accessed through the ancient colossal trees, the ones the colonizers cut down. When you see long mountain ranges, peaks, and volcanoes, it's likely that a doorway exists there leading inward. But never attempt to descend on your own because there are several races down there and most are hostile, like the Kujas. We also know them as the Polarian worms, a hybrid species between greys and dracos, although some claim there are also hybrids between the custodians and dracos. You do not want to fall into their hands by descending within the knowing the terrain. Okay, I'm gonna call out a place, Mount Shasta is one of those locations, as well as here in Texas, and I forget the name of the park. I always pass them when I go home to California. I drive right through the mountains, and I just can't think of the name of it. It's here in Texas, but they have different portals or gateways. I'm just going to tell y'all that, okay? And we know that there's different hybrids of creatures that exist. So you really just got to know that when you go into these national parks, you're walking into their territory, right? So it says the gates you mentioned are usually located in places that have been intentionally named or described in ways that make people reject them, either due to their name, stories surrounding them, or generally horrific events that have occurred there. Devils, Devil's Peak in Wyoming. Is that where it's at? Devil's Peak, which is a giant tree that's been cut down. That's one place too. Um, it says, or generally horrific events that have occurred there, like what happened to several hikers in the real mountains of the Ditlov Pass, right? And that's what happened. And Woodward TV is in a thing over that, as well as I think even David Politis covered it on Canon Missing 411. So there's been a couple people that have covered it. And it says, it's possible, although I must warn you that the journey is not pleasant if you wish to descend. Aside from the danger it entails, going down there is complex, at least for a great stretch. And until reaching the tunnels, they will never ascend at our request. However, they may allow certain humans to enter through the Anakin from the lands beyond the ice walls. I can provide you with a detailed report on the journey to those regions. Author's note: what follows is a fragment from my memoirs about one of the strangest journeys to a region inhabited by these giants. If everything goes as I imagine, I will later publish a full book about the bizarre and dangerous experience, an account that holds great value, but most important of all, it is a message these giants have for us, the humans of the new cycle, and that it is why it's essential to share at least a part of it here. I do have the book over here, and as soon as we finish this book, we're going to get into this, but I want to flag this so that you guys know that we are going to come back. So we're going to reference chapter 13 once we finish this book. All right, so we only have 2 more chapters left. Chapter 14 through 16, and we'll be done with this book, Can We Escape the Simulation? The next chapter, when I come back, we'll be reading chapter 14, The Cracks That Lead Toward the Underground World. Okay, and actually, let's just go ahead and read it because it's only 1 page and I've got like 8 minutes. Okay, so this is a picture, okay, of what he has in the book. And we're reading chapter 14. And it says, for years I collected clues, silenced testimonies, remnants of ancient reports, manuscripts, and the luck of having had so many conversations with people who came from beyond the system. The anomalies near the absolute zero line had always intrigued me, as did the countless expeditions sent by various countries even before the 1900s to the region we now know as Antarctica. Even the breadcrumbs we can observe from our humble position can offer us answers. Why aim bombs at the sky if there was nothing there that they're trying to break? Why seal the Antarctic Treaty with such urgency? These were some of the first questions that sparked everything for me. The records I came across spoke of a white sea above the clouds, others of inverted waves, but none of this would have been possible without Helen Morris, a woman still invisible to the great narrative of human history, yet essential for those seeking an alternative path outside the system. Okay, and it says, a few days after our third meeting and our conversation about the Anakin giants living beneath the surface, I came across a particular unique document among several records. It was one Helen had left for me. And again, I'm going to show you the picture. This looks like Devil's Peak, Wyoming. And this looks like the underground cities that we had. Like I told you, we knew to go underground at certain points. And when things started to get really bad, no doubt our ancestors knew that this was imperative for our survival. And so next, when I come back, I've read chapter 13 and chapter 14 to you. When I come back, we're going to talk about the giants' promise to return to our lands. And then we're going to get into the ice walls and the final challenge. And then that's it. So again, I read to you today from Can We Escape the Simulation? No Scaphandrum, a.k.a. Claudio Nicelli. I read chapters 13 and chapters 14. We've got 2 more chapters to finish up. Then we're going to shift gears and I'm going to cross-reference and make sure to bring home the point that we're going to read the book about the giants and the message that they have for us, those that live underground and those that live beyond the ice walls. And yes, they do monitor our communication. I'm telling you, we have different alien factions. I hate to use the word alien. Different non-human intelligences that utilize these devices. I'm telling you. So just as well as our own government, deep state, listens, we have the factions of the different extraterrestrial species, as well as we have military black ops that also do. So we're being bombarded by a lot of different things, but we're also, you also have to understand that there are many that are watching right now. So you just got to know that whatever you do is going to be scrutinized, whether you know it or not. So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day. And remember what I always say, be the change you want to see all around this Earth Dome, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. I'll talk to you guys soon. I got to get back to my California returns. Got to file these energy returns. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.